Hey everyone, this is BRAINWAVEZ and I'm gonna show you how to create a drop like Mystic.
Click, clap, blast 'em. Go. Blast 'em.
This whole project file, as usual, is available on my Patreon along with many others, so feel free to check the link in the description if you want to get it, and let's get started. So the BPM for this project is 145. The drums sound like this. And they consist of a kick drum, snare. The snare has a little bit of post-processing on it, just like an EQ boosting on the top end and a little bit of reverb just to give it a little bit more of a tail. And then I have a hi-hat. So then for the basses, I have a sidechain already in place, as you can see. So both of the layers for the first bass sound like this. The first layer is this one. And the second one is this one. Or you could say this is the main bass and then this is a layer of that main bass. For bass 1, I'm going to mute the EQ in there and all of this post-processing. So it starts with a sine wave, phase distortion from B, 36% and level 52%. Then I enable a second oscillator, which is also a sine wave. This one is with a level all the way down. And lastly, oscillator C, which is once again a sine wave. But in this case, I have some harmonics in here that I draw just to make this sine wave a little bit fatter, because this is going to be the sub bass portion of the sound. And in the routing, this is going directly out into the bus 1. We'll get into that in a second. But for now, the sound is going to be pretty quiet. Mostly sub bass. And let's go to the effects, and I'm gonna enable distortion with this type of distortion, then hyperdimension, then compression, and another distortion. These two are really helping to shape the sound. Same with this EQ in here. And lastly, an utility just cutting the stereo out of the low end. So that's for the main effects group. But as I mentioned before, the oscillator C is not going to that one, it's going to bus 1. And as you can see, bus 1 is going directly out. So if I go here, you can see that I have soft clipping distortion and then an EQ. Just cutting everything above 210 Hertz. So that's for the patch itself. Then outside of the patch, I just have a EQ, just boosting like 6 dBs around like the 4K area in a wide Q. Just making the sound brighter. Now for the layer. Once again, that's how it sounds, and let me just mute this and show you how I made that sound. So it's a variation of the first bass, and it has the same level value. Phase distortion from B is now at 60%. I enable, once again, this is same as the last patch, another sine wave with the level all the way down, and a noise oscillator with the ARP circuit sample. Pretty quiet so far. Now let's move to the effects, which is pretty simple, just multiband compression and this EQ. The magic happens outside of the patch when I put erosion on with the settings. And then I put this other EQ, boosting around 4 dBs in the 2K area. And check out that this one is way quieter than the first bass. So that's how I created those two layers. They complement each other very well. And now I'm going to move on to the second bass, which once again consists of 2 layers. So both of them together. This is the main one. And this is just the sub bass portion. So let's see what's going on in here. All right, so for this one, in the first oscillator A, I have a square wave. Phase distortion is at 37%, and I created this LFO that is going on envelope mode in this rate. So that's how it's sounding so far. Then I enable a sub oscillator with the level modulation as well, being run through the LFO. Then on the oscillator B, I have the Monster 3 wavetable, which is from the spectral wavetables. Level is all the way down. Yeah, phase distortion is what's kind of like morphing those two wavetables together, the square and the Monster wavetable. Then the filter is creating the tone and the movement that I wanted. So those are the values. And the filter is routed to the sub and to the oscillator A. Then I'm gonna go to the effects, and I have this first one, which is an EQ just doing that movement on the top end. Then some single mode compression, helping a lot to shape the sound and to get like the tone that I wanted. Then some dimension, some EQ. This EQ is mostly just boosting and making it a little bit grittier, and a reverb. So this is high EQ6, and this is a plate reverb with these settings. Cool, so that's for that sound. As you saw, LFO1 is helping, to move the levels of both the sub oscillator and oscillator A. Also, I missed something. I also have a noise oscillator with the bright white sample. And the level is also modulating that. And the EQ. And I think that's all of the routing. Then outside of the patch, I just put an EQ just cutting everything below 100 because I have my sub bass in here, which is covering for that area. And that sub bass is pretty much just a sine wave with a little bit of harmonics, just a tiny amount. And I have the LFO1 going to this filter. And this LFO2 is controlling the main tuning, 10% in there, bipolar mode. Basically, the sub is doing a little pitch movement. Pretty subtle, but I'm going to make it more noticeable so you can see what I mean. But yeah, I wanted something way more subtle, so like 10%. And that's for that one. On the effects, the only thing that I have is soft clip and distortion. Resonance of the filter is 36%. Lastly, as little detail, both of these layers for the second bass, they are behind by 14 milliseconds in the track delay. That means that even if they appear on grid in here, they're actually something like that in real terms. And I'm doing that just because I found that it was sounding better timing wise with the beat. Lastly, I just have a vocal.
Click, clap, blast 'em. Go.
And I have a automation of the rate for both of these layers because in the second part, I'm changing the flow a little bit. So it goes from half of a bar rate to a full bar. So yeah, that's pretty much for this one. Thank you very much for watching. I hope it was helpful. As usual, this whole project file is available on my Patreon if you want to get it, along with many other projects. I'm also doing one-on-one coaching and mix and mastering gigs, so if you're interested, feel free to check the link in the description or reach out. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I hope I see you around.
Click, clap, blast 'em. Go. Blast 'em.